Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of live coverage of the North American Grand Prix Season 23 GT1 Racing, coming to you from the Circuit Zolder, located in beautiful Houston, Zolder, Belgium. I'm Ken Rodriguez, and before we go any further, please allow me to introduce you to my co-host this evening, Jack Ivy. What do you say there, Jack?
Hey Ken, good to be back at the tracks again. Zolder, I like this one. What about you?
Yeah, certainly. One very challenging track here. Not perhaps one of my favorites. It's a challenge in anything that I drive here, but boy, these guys are out there right now. It's wet, Jack, and I can just imagine for these very high horsepower cars, 600 plus horsepower, it's got to be a handful right now. They got wet qualifying conditions.
Yeah, it's wet. The track is 68. It's cold. The ambient temperature is 63. It's all going to be about, setup and getting the power down and driving it smooth. So it looks like Brad Merys is in one of the Lambos. I guess he's subbing in for somebody tonight, either Sam Rolfe or John Sportelli. So he's one guy I'd like to keep my eye on.
Yeah, that he is. He was laying down some very fast laps a little bit earlier. But getting back to the track real quick, we did bring up the track map and some details about this track. Originally built in 1963. Current leagues running here: Super League Formula, DTM, the FIA WTCC Race of Belgium. They also have the GT Bell Car Championship, which includes the 24 Hours of Zolder. There used to be Formula One here for some time before it moved over to Spa-Francorchamps.
Yeah, a lot of history here. I like this track. I was out driving this track the other night in the GT1 cars, and I like it. The chicanes are going to be tough, especially if, these wet conditions hang in here. But, boy, you can really get a good rhythm and get motoring around this track real well. 10 corners, very technical. It's going to be a real test, especially if we go wet.
Yep, and speaking of driving around this track, let's go ahead and throw up the track lab video. Wow, we're getting a lot of disconnects here, Jack. Hang on one second. Before we go any further, folks, we are going to go on standby and find out what's going on for you. And we apologize, folks. After a brief delay, we are back online live at Zolder, Belgium. Jack Ivy, Ken Rodriguez for Thursday night NAGP GT1 racing action coming to you live. So, Jack, any indication what the technical difficulties were?
Ghosts in the machinery, as far as I can tell, Ken. But you know what? I'm pretty sure the guys are happy about this because the track's now dry, 89 degrees, ambient 72. Because they were really struggling out there in the wet. And, there's a good chance of wet conditions. If it goes wet during the race, these guys have got their hands full.
They certainly do, and we were just talking about that, right? So did the broadcaster's curse extend itself to the qualifying session where we just started suffering some mass disconnects? Very interesting indeed.
I don't know, Ken, but we are sure having our troubles on Thursday night here. Monday seems to be going pretty smooth, and then you and I get into the control booth, and we can sure throw a wrench into the machinery quick, can't we?
Man, I don't know if it's us, Jack. It might just be the temperament of the GT1 league. I don't know. Or it could be us. Who the heck knows?
Well, you mentioned temperament, and tempers were flying last Thursday night. Wow.
Yeah, that they were. And you know what? Let's talk about that a little bit there. So we're going to go and talk about the penalties from Imola. And one of them up at the top, we see that Sam Rolfe has a no qualifying for the next event attended because he attempted a risky overtaking maneuver on Greg Myers into turn 3.
Yeah, well, you know what? These are always tough calls, Ken. We've chatted about this in the past, and we chatted in the pre-show before we went on. These are tough calls for these CC guys to make, but you know what? I got to hand it to them. This is all volunteer stuff, and these guys are doing the best they can. So, I got to defer to their expertise. But sometimes you and I see things a little differently.
All right. So let's cut to the chase. Timestamp 52:22. Final lap. Sportelli gets into the back of Merriman, who had already established position entering turn 1. Contact is made, resulting in Sportelli taking the position. Sportelli does not wait to give the position back. Merriman receives his third cut track warning on the last lap. The very last lap of the race, resulting in time penalty, loss of position in the standings. That gives Sportelli a 30-kilogram at-fault contact on the next event that he attends. So, go on, Jack. Tell me your opinion of that one.
Well, on top of that, he picked up another penalty for another 20K, so he's carrying around 50K penalty weight. Now, is he going to have some success ballast as well at the next event because he finished third because of that? You know what? That being said, we all know John Sportelli is very, very competitive. We saw it on the broadcast. Anybody who watched the broadcast saw it as well. We knew he was going to try. It's just in his nature. That's the way John is. I'm not, saying it's good, bad, or otherwise. I knew in my heart he was going to try. And, if Al got his third cut, that's his third cut. He already had 2 to begin with. I have no sympathy for the third cut. But, man, oh, man, what a bad time to knock the guy off on the last lap. But that's racing.
Yeah, I have to agree, but getting the third cut on the last lap is kind of pouring that pure salt into an open wound. So certainly can empathize a little bit there with Al and how things went down afterwards. But that was just one of those really tough breaks. And like I said, I empathize because they had an epic battle from the word go just about. Very early on in the race, these two were bumper to bumper, trading paint in some places and, getting really close. And it was just an epic battle. And it was hard fought. I'm sure a lot of sweat and tears went into that one. It was just unfortunate that, that what happened at the end.
Yeah, it was a heartbreaker to watch him go from third to eighth, and my heart goes out to Al for that. I would have been much happier if he went from third to fourth, but that's the way it goes here. I mean, we're all human. We make mistakes. We got to keep it in perspective, Ken. It is a game, guys. We do it for enjoyment. So, if something like that happens, you get hot and bothered, go walk away. Walk away, have a coffee, and come back another day. Now, enough of that, Ken. Let's get back to qualifying. It looks like the 126s are back at it.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. 90-degree track temperature, 71 ambient. Conditions are sunny. Forecast is sunny. It's a great day out here in Zolder, Belgium, and these guys are just going to lay it all on the line. Will, however, say this: 126.6. That is on the high end of the 126s that we were seeing in practice, because these guys, they were near touching 125s around this circuit. But speaking around this circuit, let's go ahead and load up the track lap video. We're going to take you for a lap around Zolder so you guys know what these folks driving these GT1 cars are facing here tonight. And with that, we will go to the video.
Take it away, Ken.
So here at the Zolder circuit, your lap starts coming down the front straight through the start-finish line and into turn 1, also known as Ersty. This is a little bit of a tricky one because you get that first initial turn in, and then you have the apex. Going into turn 2, you want to maximize your entry and exit speed. Most of these guys here tonight will probably stay a little bit on the throttle as they come out of turn 3. This is a straight shot and more of a sweeper turn whereby they can utilize more acceleration power. Coming into turn 4, corner exit speed of utmost importance. Why? Well, Climb Chicane is coming up. That's the turn 5 complex. Right about the 100 meter mark, you're going to start braking, getting down into about second gear. But this chicane produces a lot of downforce, so you get right back up on the throttle. Coming through Butt, which is turn 6, into another chicane. This whole turn complex here is considered one turn. This is turn 7 on this track. Okay, so we had some technical difficulties there towards the end of that lap video. Don't know, we were getting some really bad audio feed, so we apologize for that. But you get the gist of the track, folks, and we are back to live coverage. John Ludden out on top right now.
He is indeed, and look at that. Merys is right behind him, Pole right behind him. I mean, 1, 2, 3. They've got similar pace. If this translates into race pace, another tight grid. 1 to 10 are within a second of each other, so it's going to be awesome tonight.
No surprise to see Rich Roman up there in 4th right now, driving that big Aston Martin. Scott are looking mighty racy out there as he comes through a chicane complex and hugs it really, really tight. Aaron Parsons in 5th, and he got that List of Storm pretty trimmed out, although I believe he's carrying some weight tonight, isn't he?
Well, carrying weight is an understatement, Ken. He's got 110 pounds. Marty Uran has got 44. Poole's got 88. Connor Swain's got 88. Trussler's got 44. And Dan Werfelson's got 88. So lots of baggage out there tonight.
Yeah, Connor Swain with 88 pounds of penalty ballast as a late joiner in the season, and still holding it up in P13. Not bad at all.
That is decent.
That is way decent. So, Brad Merys and David Poole, Ian Jolicoeur, all out there trying to answer John Ludden's 126.4 now. Now, I'll tell you this much. Ian Jolicoeur during practice, he was near untouchable.
Well, we switch over this qualifying track, just a little bit more grip out there. You got to throw that rain out of the way because that would have taken everything out of there. So it's a good thing these guys got reset. But Ian, very quick. Poole, Merys, Ludden, right on their game tonight.
Yep, indeed, that they are. And Marty Uran not too far out of that group, running in P7 right now. We're going to go ahead and jump on board with Marty Uran driving the Saleen SR7. as he comes through the tricky chicane complex down the back end of the track.
Yeah, these chicanes are, they can be quick, but they can catch you out.
Yeah, what's interesting, very interesting, is that where Marty ran just past, there was a small little chicane area. There's a sand trap to the inside of that second part there. Some of these guys take that real close. They'll even put a wheel on the sand. Got to be careful, however. If that second wheel, the rear wheel, gets hooked onto that sand as you're going through, that's it. It's going to pull you right in.
Yeah, like I said, these guys are taking these chicanes really quick, but race conditions, they may just get caught out.
Yep, couldn't agree with you more, Jack. So you ran.
Yeah, I just watched Al Merriman jump up to P7.
Yep, Al up to P7, he puts it in the garage. That'll push Marty Uran down. Ryan Schleif now duking it out with someone during qualifying. Don't know if that's Ludden. This is going to turn out bad if one of them does not concede.
Nope. It's not John Ludden.
Chris Moses running back in P10. Now, Chris, early on in practice, we were watching him go around this track. He was looking mighty fast for a while there. Had that Pano's GT1 car hooked up really nice. Running 10th right now. Very respectable.
Well, you got to hand it to, both Chris and Al. They are sitting second in the team championship. So as a team, they're doing really well, and it's getting both cars into points consistently over 10 races. That's going to put you into this championship hunt.
It is. I mean, we have T Broke Dam Bam GT1 right now out in front with 67. As you stated, PMR Racing with 59, Rolf Sport Racing with 51, and Amcan Racing with 50, and they're tied with 05 Motorsport, also with 50 points. And look at this, Panzerfaust Racing, 47 points. These guys are running it real close from first to sixth. Just a 10-point spread. I'm sorry, 20-point spread.
Yeah, and that's what I say. You get the two cars finishing in the points consistently week after week. You're going to move up in this team championship. So this is the one that interests me. I mean, I know the guys, all the top guys are all going out for, for the individual drivers championship, but the team championship is the one that really interests me.
Yeah, well, you know what? Team championships are probably a lot more, how can I say it? They carry a lot more weight because it is a team effort, right? It's not just about the one driver. We understand that you have 3 championships in this league. You have the driver, the team, and then you have the competition index. Competition index, not a slouch, not to be left out either, because that is a very prestigious award. But the team championship, when you take 2 like-minded drivers and they try to stitch together a successful season and are successful at doing it, that feeling cannot be beat.
Yeah, you got that right on. I just want to make mention, Brad Merys has now jumped up with a 26.109.
Like I said, nearly touching the 25s. And going back to speaking about the driver championships right now, we did go ahead and pull up that screenshot. So Aaron Parsons currently sitting out in front with 66 points, followed by Sportelli with 42 after last week's results were finalized. And then Alex White, who has been subbing this season, is sitting in third with 40 points.
Well, yeah, if Alex is just going to sub, we know he's not going to make it to the end unless he puts in a lot of races. So, you got to really put David Poole in third. He's only a point behind Alex, so Poole's really going to be sitting in third place right now.
Yep, gotta agree with you, because the moment Alex starts dropping a race or 2 here, those points will slide him back fairly quickly.
Yeah, and then we've got, Al at 37 and Ludden at 32, so great bunch of drivers up there at the front again.
No doubt. So we're back to qualifying. We've got about 8 minutes left of qualifying, and Brad Merys, the man laying down the law here in this quali session with that Lamborghini. He is 126.109, about 3/10 of a second faster than John Ludden. John Ludden doing everything that he possibly can to answer, but running into some back marker traffic, and this one's certainly going to slow him down. So we're going to stay on board with John Ludden to see how he comes across the first sector split. Oh.
Yeah, while you're following Ludden around, I'm tailing Ian Joliker, and he has got a decent lap going. He's just a couple of tenths off Merys' pace right now, and he is a little bobble there, but he's really pushing hard as well.
Yeah, that's that chicane I was talking about, having the sand trap on the inside, and these guys, they're definitely going to push it, and understandably so. The tight line is the fast line around this place.
Yeah, most of the drivers are pushing it, cutting it real close to the edge there.
So Jolicoeur coming around the last turn down the front straightaway. Does he have enough? Not quite. Almost half a second slower.
Well, he moves up to P3.
Moves him up to P3, no doubt. Puts David Poole back down in P4. About 6.5 minutes of qualifying left to go, so that is almost an eternity in this league.
Yep, the guy's getting out for their last hot one. And talking about a hot one, track temp is up to 90 and the ambient 69, so they're going to be pushing hard and probably only going to be good for one lap on these soft tires.
Oh, yeah. Well, it could have been worse, I'll tell you what, because these soft tires would have about 3/4 of the way around this track gone to nothing had it been like in practice, where these guys were seeing 115 degree Fahrenheit track temperatures.
Yeah, those temps are just murder on the tires.
So John Ludden back out there trying to answer to Brad Merys, coming up on the first sector split right now. We'll see how he makes out. It's about a half a second off the pole pace right now.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's probably the best time we have seen around here right now is 126.109.
Well, I'll tell you what. I am going to go and find out what the past results say. And pole position time here previously, a 128.731. And that was back in season 17.
You know, these guys are just getting faster and faster. Ken, I just want to throw out a personal note here. I joined this league a couple of years back, and, I think I'm much faster than I was, but so is everybody else. It's just so demoralizing that you fast guys keep going faster.
I tell you, if you go back and look through some of the archive history of this league, you can certainly see the improvement of some of these really fast guys. They weren't always the fastest.
Yeah, well, when's our improvement coming?
30 years ago? When the reflexes were faster and the eyesight was better? I don't know.
Oh, I think you got that right. I think I'm a little too old for this. I need a vintage racing league.
Hey, we should ask NAGP to start a Masters League.
An old Masters league.
Well, Masters, and set a minimum age limit. Really?
Yeah, there'd be 5 of us, Ken.
I say minimum age limit of 45. That eliminates about half the field right there.
We'd end up with 16 drivers and everybody'd be in the points.
You're probably right, Jack. I can't fight with that. I can't argue with that statement.
Now, back out at qualifying, Chris Moses has brought it down or up to P5.
And yep, we just jumped on board with Chris Moses. Man, he is driving the wheels off of that Panos car. In my opinion, one of the funkier looking cars is he takes it wide and onto the grass, but he just keeps it motoring.
I don't know how Chris drives like he does. You know, I've tried. He's been very gracious. He puts all his setups online for everybody to try. But I can't even get that car to even with his setups to even turn one corner.
I was just about to ask, have you ever tried his setups? Because I did. I downloaded his whole pack. Can't drive with one of them.
Well, I downloaded the pack and then unloaded it.
So Ludden out there trying to answer Brad Merys as somebody blows their engine. 0.4 of a second off. Almost had enough, but not quite. And he slides it out wide, and that's going to end that qualifying run.
Yeah, it looks like David Poole's going to get one last run in. And Poole is on a flyer.
Poole is so fast that his car sticks to the road even while it's upside down.
Well, that's going to cost him.
Yeah, he's taking it wide through some corners there, getting on a couple wheels on the grass. You start to lose grip at that point.
Yep, he is already down below his current time level. Parsons coming in to finish his lap.
Yeah, don't think it's going to be... He's in P5 right now. And no improvement for Parsons.
And Chris puts it off. Big Al coming around to finish out his lap.
Well, this looks like a fairly decent lap for Al. He might get a slight improvement here if he can just push it just a little bit harder. No.
John Houston coming around to finish his. Let's see if he can improve.
Yep.
He does, up to P12.
Houston up to 12. Juan Monroy trying to squeeze. Yeah, it looks like he might get to squeeze this one in. Oh, no.
He might be a little out.
Yeah, I don't think so. He's still on the first sector of the track. He's not going to get this one in. Folks, we get about 60 seconds left in the session. Once the clock winds down and stops at 0, you get about 60 seconds to complete the lap that you're on. And when you're on the first sector of the track, doubtful that that's going to happen.
No, they're going to get caught out. The only one out there is Parsons again. He's coming around to finish.
Yeah, Parsons one more time trying to improve. Just won't get it done. He was almost a second off of the pace there.
Yeah, and Ian just practicing his lap in, and that looks like it's it for qualifying.
Yep, gotta agree. We're still watching. Yep, that's it. They got caught out there, and we are now rolling over to the Quali 2, where if anybody dropped, we might get them back. But not too bad of a turnout tonight, Jack. 25 drivers.
Not too shabby at all. I love it when it gets above 25. You know, we get in around 30, it gets really interesting. And when you get above 30, it gets insane out there.
Yeah, to say the least. So, what do we have on tap? It's an hour-and-a-half race, and let's take a look and see what is our max lap
60
distance.
laps.
60
maximum.
laps. Okay. And I'll tell you what, if it stays dry, we will certainly make that 60 lap threshold.
Indeed, we will. But they did say there's a good chance for wet conditions, so they could throw all this right out the window.
They could. Another thing for these racers tonight to keep in mind, the 10% cut rule is in effect, and they will be checking. They will be checking for the cuts. 7 cuts will result in a 1-lap penalty. Turns 5 and 7, especially, which are the Klein chicane and the that whole turn 7 chicane complex over there where the sand trap is. They are going to be watching those closely.
Well, I like the last track we were at, which marshaled itself. I really like that. Some guys don't. I personally do. I mean, I like it when it calls the cuts, the game calls cuts, and you've got to go in and do your stop and go. I like that.
Yeah, that Imola track is certainly a self-marshaling track and very, very strict on the rules there. Some guys, if you looked at the results pretty carefully, you'll see that some guys got them 2 cuts and had to do everything that they possibly could to avoid that third and getting a stop and go penalty.
Well, it's good because it allows them, or it makes them, referee themselves. I mean, when you've got a couple of cuts under your belt, you're going to take it a little easier. You're not going to be as aggressive. Whereas when we go to the CC committee, the guys are going to drive aggressively through the whole race and then get thrown back, which can cost some other guys some headaches.
That indeed, no doubt. But it is what it is. That's why we have the competition committee on tap to review these races and issue penalties accordingly.
So, what do you think for tonight, Ken?
Boy, this is going to be a tough one. I'll tell you this much. I've been watching Brad Merys from when he got on the server during practice, and I have to say that of all the drivers here tonight, he seems to be driving the cleanest lines through the entire circuit. Now, it's evident that those clean lines have translated into a very fast qualifying lap, a 125.9. He broke the barrier of the 126s, which did not get broken earlier, but he did it in qualifying when it counted. So, going to have to keep my eye on Brad Merys, but I will not count out John Ludden either. John Ludden has been knocking on the door of a victory here in season 23. He just hasn't had the luck yet to quite get there on a consistent basis, but he's been knocking hard on the door.
Well, my money tonight goes on our boy in blue, Ian Joliker.
Well, certainly a good choice, right? You can never go wrong choosing Ian Jolicoeur because at any given moment, he can be fast and on point.
Well, he seems to be getting, every race he seems to be getting just a little quicker and a little more, happy in that car of his. So I think it's Ian's night tonight, but you know what? Brad is so consistent. It is going to be so tough. If Brad gets a good start, it is going to be really tough for these guys to hang on to him.
I think it's going to be important that each one of the top 10 drivers tonight not fall asleep at that start. We saw it happen to Poole last week at Imola, where he kind of fell asleep on that start, had to claw his way back up, but the focus is going to be needed. This track, you don't get much rest on this track. It's tight, it's twisty, as you stated, it's technical, so you're always doing something at every given moment on this track. It's going to take a lot of focus from these drivers to stay competitive.
Well, I think, David is one super competitive driver, and I can only see him making that mistake once. You can bet that, he's gone back to the start line and practiced that start because that's not going to happen to him again, and I don't think he's going to get caught out on it again.
Nope, I have to agree. So it's going to be quite an interesting race here tonight, Jack. And again, it's going to be a tight grid and a tight, twisty track. This track has tons of turns, so car setup, focus, and speed are all going to be your most important ingredients here tonight.
Well, I did notice Gup Douglas, he has got himself into P15, to start. So he has thrown his let's just stay at the back of the pack strategy out for the rest of this season, I would imagine.
Yeah, probably. I mean, stay at the back of the pack. It's a risk. Perhaps not as much, not as much in GT1, in terms of first lap pileups and fiascos and debacles that happen, like on Monday night GT2 racing. I will say this, however, a start from the back strategy in GT1 is not an easy one because you're contending with a lot of fast folks around here.
Hey, a little update. We have got a new driver on track. It is the White Lightning.
Yep, I saw that he joined there at Quali 2. He is driving the other Lambo. So, very interesting. So we we are missing a team from tonight's roster of racers, the Blue Salines.
Yeah, we are. Cuppet and Taylor, I believe.
Yep, and I thought that Wilkerson was going to be subbing for Cuppet, so let's go back and let's just go and take a look at that real quick. Is Cuppet in here?
Do we have Ryan? Is Ryan Schleif in tonight? No. So it's Schleif and Cuppet. No. Sorry.
It should be Schleif and Wilkerson. Should it not? No, Ryan Schleif is driving the Corvette. So Dan Wilkerson was supposed to be subbing for Cuppet, and doesn't seem that that's the case here tonight.
Well, yeah. Wilkerson's in the C6R, and that's Jonathan Cuppet's car.
And who's driving it? Oh, there he is. Dan Wilkerson. How could I have missed him?
Yeah. Boy, oh boy, you guys were having a hard time keeping track of all you guys.
Yeah, well, we certainly are, but...
It doesn't take much for us, does it?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, we've got Connor Swain. He's in the F4.
Connor Swain in the F40, and
so Matt Taylor and Prado are there in the Blue Saline, and neither one of them are here tonight.
That is correct. Andres Prado is the most interesting. He's like the most interesting man in the world, and he's just kind of traveling all over the place. Not sure what's going on with Taylor. So we are done with warm-up.
Yes, and we now have 26 drivers getting ready for the grid.
Yes, sirree. So Alex White will be starting from the back. Very interesting. I'm wondering how this is going to play out.
Well, you can pretty much guarantee that he's not going to stay there.
Yeah, certainly not. So we have switched over to the race. 88, it's dry. 75 ambient, sunny, and forecast is sunny. Let's go ahead and run them down, Jack.
Alrighty. Brad Merys in P1, John Ludden in P2, Ian Jolicoeur in third, David Poole in fourth, and Aaron Parsons in fifth.
Starting in sixth, Chris Moses. Seventh goes to Rich Roman. Al the Boss Merriman will start in eighth. Marty Uren in ninth. And Andrew Werner will start in 10th.
Ryan Schleif in 11th, and a good outing for John Houston in 12th. Juan Monroy in 13th. Mike Trussler in 14th. And Gup Douglas in 15th.
Starting 16th is John Wathen, Kreshnik Khalili in 17th. Connor Swain, good on you, starting in P18. Bjorn Heyman in 19, and Thomas Schubeck will round out your top 20.
Mikey Graytrix in 21st. John McIntyre in 22nd. Dan Wilkerson in 23rd. Sergio Calderon in 24th. Paul Hall in 25th. And in 26th, we're going to have Alex White starting at the back of the pack.
Yes, indeed. So 45 seconds to the start. Let's go ahead and jump on board. Well, our leader just seems to be wanting to jump in and out of the pits there. Most of these fast guys do that just before the start of the race. I wonder what they can be doing.
Well, they're lucky they got dry track, 89 degrees, ambient at 74. Conditions are sunny. The forecast is sunny. The sky looks good. We'll keep our eye on the temps, though, but it's looking good so far for a start.
Yep, that it is. And so we are on board with P1 Brad Merys, looking back at the rest of the field. 26 drivers here tonight. It's going to be very interesting, and here we go. The lights are starting to come on. The engines are starting to rev. And they are off. Brad Merys with a great start. John Ludden going to fall in right behind him. Get that pole going down into turn number 1. Remember, folks, you guys got cold tires and cold brakes. Oh, and we see one of the listeners go off into the sand traps.
Yeah, and he is falling like a stone.
And we see an Aston Martin also getting pushed off. Boy, the competition committee is going to have to check this first lap at-fault contacts for this one.
And that's Rich Roman all the way to the back of the pack.
Oh, boy, Rich Roman falling like a rock and a stone in a pond all the way back to P26. But you know what? I can tell you, he won't stay there long.
Well, talk about falling. Aaron Parsons is back in P21. That was one of the listers that you said got knocked off the track. So he has got his work cut out for him, and he is carrying a bag load of weight.
Yeah, that's a tough break for Aaron, no doubt. But he's giving a lot for Mikey Graytrix to contend with. Mike Graytrix currently in 20th. John Wathen just in front of him. So they're still running. Oh, Mikey Graytrix.
Marty's taking it off.
Yep. Chris Moses in 11. Kreshnik Khalili in 12th. They're battling it out. Moving on up the field.
Yeah, these guys got to settle down until they get the heat up in those tires.
Yeah, absolutely. John Houston running in P5, driving the Viper.
Poole has gotten ahead of Joliker.
Poole in P3, John Ludd in P2, and Brad Merys just running his race right now in P1.
And talk about running his race. They are taking that chicane really, really narrow.
Yeah, the second chicane, it seems there may be some cutting going on there, and that observation was made by one of our members in the chat room, Mr. Alex Scott, and I have to agree with him. I've seen some of these folks taking it really, really close. Some questionable driving there.
Well, good to have you on board there, Alex. Always nice to have my super secret setup man join us.
So, Brad Merys.
Hey, I've still got Scotty's notes hanging on my dashboard.
That's it, man. That's it. John Houston in P5. Al Merriman running a good race early on in P6 right now.
Yeah, looks like they've all started to settle down a little bit. Out at the back of the pack, we've got, looks like Roman and Alex White getting around Sergio Calderon.
Alex White going to the inside. Oh, Sergio closing the door, saying, hold on, not so fast.
Yeah, saying not so fast to a really fast guy.
Yep, he's saying, I'll let you by when I can. It ain't going to be now, though, but Alex White going to take it down the outside. Oh, that was just so risky, but Alex White gets by and takes away P23. So White Lightning forging ahead, trying to move up to the front of the pack.
Well, they are still all tight together. Ryan Schleif and Al Merriman are in lockstep right now. And closing in on John Houston.
Yep, that they are. Wow. So Ryan Schleif, oh, to the inside.
Whoa,
Al
whoa.
gets into the side of him and takes himself out.
And Al is dropping like a stone as well, down to P11. P12. But it looks like Al's going to power his way back up through past Tressler. And that opens the door for Bjorn Heyman to have a look on the inside of Tressler as well.
There's about 4 or 5 cars back there coming fast, trying to establish position. So Al better get out of there. Boy, oh
You got
boy.
that right. You got Schubeck, Heyman, Halili, Tressler, and Al Merriman.
Boy, we're going to have to go back to the videotape on that one, but I believe I saw Ryan Schleif establish the inside line on that turn, and I thought I saw the car of the boss turn into Schleif, and that just pushed him out. So, again, the replay will tell all.
Well, that's the way I saw it too, and that's the way we're calling it.
So John Houston now coming under pressure from the Corvette of Mr. Ryan Schleif. So these guys are going to have one heck of a battle going into these next few laps.
Yeah, you got Warner, Schleif, and Houston, and Schleif is giving Houston a rear view mirror full of Corvette right now.
Your leader, Brad Merys, out front on board with Mr. John Ludden on the bumper cam, and John Ludden not willing and not risking to let Brad Merys get too far away. I think he may be thinking to himself, if I let Brad get too far away, it's going to be a lost cause. But if I can keep him within my crosshairs, drive a clean race, just let him pull me around the track, I may have something for him later on during this race.
Well, the old catbird is sitting back there at David Poole, and he's watching that up front, and he's keeping these guys close too.
Yeah, that he is. Actually, he's just pulling up on the bumper of John Ludden, just about.
Yeah, you know, John might be just trying to overdrive it just a little bit to get in a little closer when he may be a little better off just sitting in there. And, you know, I wish I had more info on these cars. You know, I'm not right up on it. But, you know, John may be just better to drive a smooth line, save the tires for later on in the stint.
Yeah, you're not kidding. So, just jumped on board with Ryan Schleif, looking out ahead at John Houston as they come into the turn 1. And it's a little bit of a complicated turn 1 because you got that first initial little dog leg, and then the apex. A lot of guys get caught out there. But it looks like Schleif trying to lay down some power and pull up on John Houston. It's a great battle going on right now.
It sure is. And, you know, Schleif is getting the lines pretty good, trying to get a good run off the corners.
Well, if you remember 2 seasons ago, Schleif, 2 seasons ago is when Schleif showed his biggest improvement. Oh, Schleif with a lurch.
Big lurch. Caught a bit of that gravel we talked about.
Yeah. So, you know, 2 seasons ago, Schleif showed his biggest improvement when he snagged one of those pole positions in GT1.
Yeah, good driver. Love to see him up on the podium, and it'll happen. He's doing real well in the league.
Absolutely. So we move a little bit further back. Andrew Werner, Chris Moses, Werner in 7th, Chris Moses in 8th. Chris Moses trying to hunt down Andrew Werner right now. A little bit further back, Juan Monroy, Al Merriman in 10th now, followed by Gub Douglas driving that Ferrari 550.
Yeah, that battle for 5th, which is Chris Moses, Andrew Werner, Ryan Schleif, and John Houston, that is all going to heat up, in the next few laps, as they're all going to start bunching up. And Moses looks like he's going to put the move on Werner momentarily.
Oh, yeah. Yep, Chris Moses known for having speedy cars, especially through the fast sections of the track as they come into the turn 4 sweeper. He's going to hold it back just a little bit, but he's got some straightaway speed here now, so we're going to have to take a look at this. That Ford GT no slouch either.
It took the words right out of my mouth. And you can bet Werner is, giving a good pucker there, having Chris Moses all over his tailpipe.
Well, this is probably the most technical sections of the track, and this is where you got to be on your A game right now. You know that you got a very fast driver behind you coming up on you, but you got to maintain your focus.
Whoa.
Oh, Moses with a big slide.
And boy, did you see, look at the gap that Werner put on that with that slide from Chris.
I can picture Andrew Werner up there like the giggling cat.
Well, the giggling cat is Juan Monroy, who's in behind Chris Moses, and he's saying, yeah, you keep sliding that car around here because I just picked up, 75, 80 feet of distance.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Now, again, a little farther back, just behind him, we've got, we talked about the team championship, so you've got Chris in 8th and Big Al Merriman in 10th.
And I am confident that these will change throughout the race. Remember, folks, it's an hour and a half. 60 laps of racing around Zolder Circuit is nothing to shake a stick at. It's a lot of racing to go.
Yeah, we've only gone 7 laps so far.
So Al, after having that little bit of an off there when he was while he was battling with Schleif, seems to have gotten it back together, put his head down and his foot on the accelerator, and is starting to make up some ground on some of the front runners. So we'll have to keep an eye on Al Merriman, and we will be coming back to see his progress.
A little farther back, we've got Alex White, who has now made his way up into, started dead last, a late join, started in P16. Aaron Parsons, who had a disaster happen in the first lap, was put back to P26. So we've got White in 16 and Parsons in 15 now.
Both of them in the points.
And they're chasing Thomas Schubeck, and there is a bit of a gaggle of cars up ahead. So, these guys, we know Parsons, we know White's fast. We didn't see any practice times. We know Parsons is fast, he's got pace, so there's going to be some action going on here from P12 all the way to 16 here.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I gotta be thinking to myself, just how bad does Alex White want it to be moved up within the standings? Started dead last, already in P16, so he's moved up 10 positions here within 8 laps. And he's gonna try looking on the outside of Parsons, but Parsons with the better line come through the turn 4 sweeper. But Alex now getting all that great draft and pull off of Aaron Parsons going into this little complex of a chicane.
While we're following some of the back, just to bring you up to date, guys, Merys is out in front by almost 3 seconds, and in front of Ludden, and Ludden is a couple of seconds in front of Poole, and they're about 3 seconds in front of Jolicoeur. So the front runners have got themselves all spaced out, not a lot of action going up there.
on board with P16 Alex White. Aaron Parsons will put the inside moves on Tom Schubeck, but it looks like so will Alex White.
So, old Thomas coming under the pressure from the speedy veterans here at the league.
I think it was more a case of Tom Schubeck saying, you know what, I know that you guys got pace. I'm going to let you by, but I'm going to let you by when I want to let you by. But he did the right thing, and he's not going to hold him up any longer.
No, and you know what? Those are two great drivers to follow around the track. So, Thomas, get in behind them, do your best to hang on to them, keep them in sight, and follow those guys around. You will pick up positions.
Yep, you will learn something too. And I'll tell you what, Jack, you know, there comes a point when you're a fairly decent driver that holding back the fast guys just does not become fun anymore. You know, it's a challenge in the first couple laps, maybe even the first couple of corners, but then there comes a point where you say, you know what, I'm not having fun having to work so darn hard at keeping these guys who I know have tremendous pace on me. I'm just going to go ahead and let them by. Follow them around, see if I can pick something up from them.
I agree with you. And just jump back up to watch Chris Moses. Chris is chasing Andrew Werner around, but you know what? Chris is sliding that Panos all over the place, and he has got Big Al not far behind him, just a couple of seconds behind him. So PMR running 8-9.
Yep, you took the words right out of my mouth. We were talking about team championships and what it means to be running well within the points, and PMR, who is not too far back, running really good here, 8th and 9th. Not sure why Chris Moses sliding that car so much around, but Al Merriman, again, starting to make up some ground and inroads to the front runners again. We're going to have to see what the team orders are here.
Team orders? For those two guys, go to the front.
Go to the front, that's it. Forge ahead.
You know, I'm just looking at some of the times there. Al's putting in some real steady lap times, you know, right around 129. You know, and Chris has got some erratic times. He's got a 31 and a 30 in there. So, Chris, a little sloppy on the laps. Al's actually a little more consistent. And we know Brad Merys always says consistency pays off. And we should see that play out here tonight.
Brad Merys with a comfortable lead of 4.5 seconds over P2 John Ludden right now. David Poole about 7 seconds back from the leader, and Ian Jolicoeur whopping 14.5 seconds. So Ian trying to drive as quickly as he can and as clean a race as he can to make up some ground. Just keep your head down and your foot on the accelerator there, Ian.
Hey, Brad Merys' last lap was a 127.9, so that is smoking. But Brad, consistently, 128s all the way through except for the start lap. So, Brad Merys, consistency pays off.
And your leader coming up on the tail of Paul Hall, who is currently running in 26th. I'm sure that Paul's getting that blue flag. You see it there on the side of the track. Yep. He'll let Brad go right on by. Good on you, Paul.
Well, another driver who's doing real well tonight is Gup Douglas. He's in P11 and he's chasing down Juan Monroy. But there's a small freight train there. Monroy, Douglas, and Heyman.
Yeah, Heyman running a fairly decent race tonight. He's up in P12.
And we've just had Alex White go past Aaron Parsons. So Parsons is in 15, White in 14.
I tell you, I gotta believe that Lamborghini has got to be good for this track. It's a high downforce car, very, very grippy, and it's just a rocket coming out of the corners.
Yeah, and he is just on the tailpipe of Mike Trussler, and he's just going to, you know, I just know Alex, he'll just set him up and get a good run off the corner. He's up on his tailpipe now, going to get a draft down the main straight.
board with Alex. I don't think he's going to get it done in this corner. But give him a few corners and he'll get something done.
No, good for Mike Trussler. He's doing a good job here.
Right there.
And boy, just goes to that talent of that Alex White, who can drive so close to the guys. Could he get any closer there? But Mike taking the defensive line through there, he left nothing for Alex White.
Left him no room, no door to open. Good on you, Mike Trussler. He is saying,
and very clean.
Yeah, very clean, saying, I'm not going to let myself be intimidated by the White Lightning.
Well, that would have forced Alex to go off the racing line to get by him. So, good on Alex to recognize that that's was a high-risk maneuver to get off that line.
That it was. So, Trussler takes it just a wee bit wide there. But getting back on the throttle, let's see what Alex White's got for him. We're going to follow this battle for the next couple of turns and see what comes of it. Because Alex White getting real close, but just not quite able to do it yet.
No, I'm sort of surprised at the speed of that. What you got, that F40?
Yep. Oh, and Trussler's going to swing wide low. Trussler taking it way too wide. Touches the grass. And finally succumbs to the pressure.
Now, Aaron Parsons is struggling because he has dropped down to 18th. He has got that thing all over the grass. So he Johnny McIntyre's got by him. Marty Uren's got by him. Schubeck's got by him. So Parsons is struggling early.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And you know what? I'm thinking that side aero damage that Parsons is sporting on that number 48 Lister Storm may be a bit of a factor there, especially going through the right-handed sweepers, which are some of the fastest portions of this track in Sector 1.
Yeah, I just noticed that after you mentioned it. Now he just put a pass on, but his car is banged up.
Yeah, so I can't help but think that has some impact on his race tonight, so I'd be curious to see if he's going to try and fix it during the pit rotations or not.
Well, gaps out front, just to bring you up to date, guys, as we follow action elsewhere. 5-second lead for Brad Merys, and over John Ludden. Ludden has got a 3-second lead over Poole, and Poole has got almost a 8-second lead, 9-second lead over Ian Joliker.
So here is another battle that is forming up for P19. Mike Graytrix driving the Saleen and Krishna Khalili driving the older Corvette C5R, pulling right up on the bumper of Mike Graytrix as they go into turn 1. Can't get it done, but not letting off. And if I'm not mistaken, Halili's got somebody on his tail. And it is the Lister Storm of Sergio Calderon. So Mike Graytrix currently holding off a hard-charging Krishna Khalili as the Saleen starts to put a little bit of a gap between itself and the Corvette. Interestingly enough, these two cars share engines.
We've got a pretty good battle going up here for P5. We've got Houston, Schleif, and Werner, and they're all in pretty tight, and this is going to close up in the next lap or so.
Just caught up with you, Jack. So we're on with Ryan Schleif, and we see that Andrew Werner driving the heck out of that heavy Ford GT. No slouch around here. Trying his best to try and put Ryan Schleif a position down. John Houston's he's got a pretty decent gap to those two, though, and he's just driving his race, saying, go on, boys, you guys battle it out back there. I'm just going to try and gap you and do the best I can until the pit times come. I think pits around here are going to be very crucial, as our friend Alex Scott has pointed out in the chat room, that pits around here are going to probably play a very important role in the race strategy for just about each one of these racers tonight.
Well, as the gaps close, and geez, we're only looking at a couple of seconds difference, in pace between P1 and P20. And pits become such a crucial part of this whole racing evening that we have Mondays and Thursday nights, that the guys who are fastest in the pits and get in and tidy and get out, boy, they sure can make a big difference.
Yeah, that they certainly can. Chris Moses still in 8th. Al Merriman still in 9th. PMR Racing trying to make inroads to gain a position or two.
Yep, just a little farther back, Gup Douglas has fallen under the clutches of the White Lightning.
Oh, yep, I see that. Alex on the inside, Gup on the outside. And boy, Bjorn Heyman trying to take as much advantage as he can, trying to hold a tight line to get on the inside track of Gup Douglas. And now Mike Trussler also getting here in the mix.
Well, that inside pass by Alex White was so close to taking that into the gravel.
Trussler with a little bit of a bobble there going through the chicane, but quickly pulls back up on Bjorn Heyman's car.
Yep, old Gup has got more problems than Alex White going by him. Mike Trussler going a little wide there.
So Trussler with just a little bit of a bobble gives Heyman a little bit of breathing room. Not by much though.
No, and as those guys start to battle it out, in the catbird position right now is Thomas Schubeck, who's got these guys in sight, just a little farther back, a couple seconds back, but you can see these guys up ahead. And sometimes, that's all the incentive you need, is to see a couple of guys duking it up in front of you to maybe just stuff up your game just a tiny little bit to get you into the mix.
And not very too much far behind them is Marty Uren, running in the last points paying position, P16 right now. And you got to keep an eye on Marty, because he's like that sneaky Pete cat, man. He'll pull up on you before you know it. If you stay too focused ahead of you and forget who's behind you, he'll capitalize on that and start making some inroads on you.
Yeah, and in behind Marty is, Aaron Parsons, like we talked about, might be having some aero problems down there, but, carrying all that ballast, if nothing else, Aaron, you're going to unload a whole bag load of freight for next week. So a little farther back, we've got, not a bad little battle going on back here. We got Mikey Graytrix in 19, Calderon in 20. Halili, a big cut all the way through the gravel. It looked like he was doing some landscaping there. And that allowed Connor Swain to get up there.
We're out front with your leader, Brad Merys. He has placed himself with a 7-second gap over P2, John Ludden. So I'm wondering if John Ludden's tires are starting to give just a little bit, maybe, perhaps. Hot temperatures around this track can certainly give you a lot to worry about. 81 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's not that bad, but probably just enough to make Ludden start backing off a little bit. And Brad Merys increasing that gap to about 7.5 seconds and coming up on some lap traffic.
I just want to, I kept saying this over and over again. Brad Merys, consistency. Last lap, 128.2, 128.1, 128.1, 128.3, 128 flat, 128 flat, 128.5. This guy is a machine.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, Brad Merys is our resident driving instructor here at NAGP. We all who have participated in his classes have picked up a wealth of knowledge. It's helped us go faster, perhaps not quite as fast as some others. But he's always maintained, keep your focus, as he puts another car a lap down right now, coming up on some lap traffic.
Yeah, just, you know, a very gregarious guy, you know, more than willing to help. You know, he puts in tons of time. He does a broadcast with Al on Monday. He does a driving school. He's now doing broadcasts on Saturday for the AI guy, or the iRacing guy. So, and as a sub driver, he goes in and just knocks out these times. So, unbelievable, and my hat's off to Brad.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He's very involved in our community and a great contributor, and we thank him for everything that he's done for NAGP all across the board.
Back in P7, Chris Moses is giving Werner a handful here. Of course, Andrew in the big Ford GT, but it looks like Chris is maybe settling down a little bit, got his nose to the grindstone, and found himself a groove.
On board with P7 Chris Moses.
Got to be one of the most interesting looking cars in our car pack.
Oh, is that the new word for ugly? It's
well, well, I don't know if it's ugly, but it's interesting.
Dr. Don Panos designed that car himself.
Well, just a little shout out there. In 2 weeks' time, we've got the big sports car races up at Mosport in Canada. So any of you race fans want to join us up there, there's going to be a bunch of us. Lou Mascarelli's coming up from Massachusetts up to join us here at Mosport. Johnny Lugnutz, Ian Joliker, Mikey Graytrix. We'll probably try and get Story and a couple of the other guys out as well. So anybody in the area, feel free to join us at Mosport.
Boy, I tell you that I wish I was close enough to be there. Alex White up to P11.
Yeah, and
hunting down Juan Monroy.
Yeah, hunting is the word.
This guy is just amazing in the way he drives.
You know, Alex doing a real great job there, you know, moving way up the pack. But, you know, when I'm looking at his lap times, not the consistency that Brad has. And that's really, that consistency is going to pay off in spades later on in the race for Brad.
I mean, in all fairness, let's take a look at something. Alex White has had to run his laps behind traffic, so I would expect that his lap times are going to vary depending on who he's following for the moment around the track, until such time that he can put a pass, as he's trying to do here on Monroy. But Monroy taking the defensive line, so not giving Alex White much room. But I'm guessing here, but I'm pretty sure that that's the reason why the consistency just is not there.
An absolutely stunning observation. And you're right, he's got to work his way through those guys, and that's exactly right. That's why you are the host of Thursday Night NAGP, Ken.
I am going to add a title to my position, and I am now the technical analytical host of Thursday Night GT1.
Well, you know who else? I'm looking at some lap times here, just out of interest here, and that John Ludden is being pretty consistent as well. Maybe not quite the speed that Brad Merys has, but he has kept that under 4 seconds or around 4 seconds to Brad Merys. So a good job done by John Ludden tonight as well.
Certainly and indeed. So Alex White losing a little bit of ground now to Juan Monroy, but quickly back up on his bumper. So, and Alex now starting to flash the lights. I think that Alex may be thinking that Juan Monroy just brake checked them.
Well, more controversy.
More controversy, yes. I don't know, man.
Oh, the Thursday night crew loves this stuff.
Well, I'm just saying that, boy, he just gave Monroy the business with the lights. I don't know. Jack's advice to Alex, just give him the chrome horn. And Monroy goes into the pits.
No.
So that's going to give Alex White P10, and I think that Juan Monroy may have picked up a stop-and-go penalty. Not sure that he slowed it down enough and in time. So what lap are we on now, Jack? Let's take a look.
Yeah, we're not there yet. We're only
23. Wow, that's kind of early for a 60-lap race.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't understand that one at all, to be perfectly honest with you.
Not at all. So we'll move up the field, and I'll have to agree with Alex Scott when he says we expect pics and vids from Mosport for sure, Jack.
Oh yeah. Lugnuts and Joliker both are the camera guys. Used to do photography, but it was all models and duties, so not too good on the chrome stuff.
Thought I saw somebody starting to smoke an engine, but that seems to have gone.
Moses and Werner.
Yep, just caught up with you. We are there. Let's jump on board.
Whoa!
I saw that. One of the Corvettes looks like it may have been, oh, not sure who it was. Was that Kreshnik?
That was Kreshnik, yeah. A big lurch, put him all the way back to 24.
Oh, tough break. Very tough break. Happened right near the pit entrance too, right?
It sure did. Now, David Poole is up into all sorts of lap traffic. Boy, he is, dicing and slicing, trying to get through. Wow, what a gaggle of cars.
Yep, the number 8 car, I believe that's Mike Graytrix flashing lights saying go on by. And Graytrix getting into the back of one of the Ferrari F40s there.
And again, still with it, just keep my eye on him. Chris doing everything he can to try and get up on this big Ford GT of Werner's, but just not having it. And Werner now is making inroads. I think Werner is not even paying attention to Chris behind, because Werner's making inroads on John Houston. So are we getting into some tire wear issues here with these cars?
No doubt. We are just about to start lap 25. I have no doubt that these tires are starting to see their share of wear. So with that said, John Houston has been running a steady P5 since the green flag just about, and has not relinquished that spot to anybody. But are we close enough to the pit rotations where it's going to make a difference now? Will he get jumped in the pits, or will he still come out in that P5 position after the pit rotations are all said and done? We'll have to see right now, because Werner certainly making some good inroads on John Houston, and Chris Moses in P7 still not letting Werner get too far ahead. But now Al Merriman also closing the gap just a wee bit.
Well, I was just taking a look at John's lap times, and they have dropped. The last few laps have dropped. by almost a second of a lap. So we're definitely getting into some tire issues. And boy, that Panos of Chris Moses is sure lurching around pretty good right now. There is no way he is going to catch Warner sliding that car around as bad as he is right now.
Yeah, no doubt he will not. We'll have to see. Yeah, he goes wide. So looks like these guys are getting some push as well as some oversteer in some areas and understeer in others. Will they come into the pits? Not yet.
Yeah, Jolicoeur's times have dropped as well. The only guy's times who have not dropped, and he's only got 2 laps in the 30s. He is back down again. Brad Merys in the 28s, and like 28 flat, 28.2, 27.9. This guy's a machine.
Yeah, those 2 laps in the 30s were the 29s and the 30s. That was putting some traffic down a lap.
Yeah, absolutely. He is just running away with this one tonight.
Yeah, he certainly is. I mean, he's out there with a nearly 10-second lead over John Ludden.
Now, question for you. Which car takes more fuel? The Lambo or the McLaren?
That's a good question. I think we need to go to our chat room, Mr. Alex Scott, for that. But I will tell you this. The Lambo it has more fuel consumption than the McLaren. So
Ludden might be able to pick up a little bit of time, but again, Brad is just spot on everything, so you can bet he's going to be spot on the pit stop as well. But if the McLaren is going to take less fuel, he might be able to pick up a little bit of time there in the pit rotation.
Perhaps by a couple of seconds. Keep in mind, these folks may be changing their tires because of the higher temps around this track, but they have no aero damage, which is great. Saves them tons of time, and they're not losing anything because of aero.
Schubeck is out. Schubeck is out.
Yep, I see that. Schubeck with an engine problem. And we lost somebody. Not sure who exactly we lost yet.
John Wathen is a DNF, and Schubeck is out with an engine.
Your race leader, not yet. Wow, interesting enough. Running lap 27, okay.
No, his lap times are staying steady. He can ride that one out. Right out to the end of his fuel.
So, Alex Scott states that the Lambo is worst on fuel, McLaren is average, but not enough to make up 8 seconds.
Now, Chris Moses all over the back of Warner, and Warner all over the back of Houston. So it's, boy, oh boy, these guys are really pushing hard.
They are running some really low setups. Coming down that stretch, all of them bottoming out and sparking all over the place. We're going to jump on board.
We got some mayhem in the pit lane.
Uh-oh. We're on board with Chris Moses P6. We don't want to lose this battle. It's a 3-way battle for P4, it looks like. But will this battle come to naught? They are approaching their pit windows really, really fast.
Yeah, it looks like we've got Jolicoeur in the pit, Ryan Schleif in the pit. Connor Swain is in the pit.
And these boys need to remember they have to get that blue approval pit light before getting into that pit lane. First, you run the risk of having somebody occupying your bed while you're not looking.
Yeah, Ian Jolicoeur in the pit has gone down a lap during his pit stop.
And you know what, Jack? That's real easy to do around here. These guys are driving so fast that if you've got aero damage and you're taking on tires and a full tank of fuel, you run the risk of losing a lap on some of these front runners. You may have the opportunity in the second stint to at least unlap yourself. Not sure how much it's going to do. So Chris Moses now into the pits.
Yeah, Werner has stayed out. You can bet he's going to come in on the next lap. And I wouldn't doubt that John Houston does too. But you know what? We haven't said much about it, but John is, driving a brilliant race tonight, and good on John. Boy, he looks good out there. He's holding down that fourth place position. He's been holding it down for the whole first stint. Had some pressure from Werner. Werner came under pressure from Chris Moses, so maybe that helped John Houston a bit. But great drive by Houston tonight.
Al Merriman stays out and takes over P6 right now. Gup Douglas up to P7. Bjorn Heyman in 8th. And Mike Trussler 9th. Aaron Parsons running in P10. Where did Alex White go? I think we lost the White Lightning. I think that was the drop.
No, he's in the pits.
Oh, he's in the pits. Yep, P13, 14 now. Sergio Calderon and Rich Roman duking it out for P15. Juan Monroy in 17th. Schleif 18th.
Merys in the pits.
Wilkerson in 19th. Graytrix running in 20th. Ian Jolicoeur in 21. Connor Swain 22. Paul Hall 23. That is your running cars right now. Ludden now inherits the lead over Brad Merys as Brad Merys comes into the pits.
Yeah, and Ludden's last lap was a 1:31, so not the greatest lap, and I didn't see if he was caught up in traffic or not, but he'll definitely be coming into the pits on this time around.
No doubt, because them tires have got to be gumbo right about now.
So, Brad Merys currently sitting in P4 until the rotations finish up. Engines fired, off the jacks, and away he goes.
So Ludden's last laps, 28, 28, and then 31s. Not sure just how much traffic he may have encountered there, but I'm going to be guessing he's probably, yep, he's coming into the pits. Which will give Houston, if Houston does not pit this lap, will give Houston the lead, and we've seen that this Dodge Viper can go a fairly long first stint.
Boy, Merys is going to be way out in front. So, going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Houston stays out. He will temporarily inherit the lead. That's got to feel good, John. Ludden in second. Douglas into the pits, coming in while in P3, followed by Mike Trussler. And 5 to Brad Merys. Now, these guys just came into the pits, so it's going to be a bit of a race between Ludden and Merys. Let's see where Ludden is right now. Ludden is still in the pits. Ludden is still in the pits.
He's got a ways to go.
Yep. So Brad Merys inherits second. John Houston still in first, but on board with John Houston, I'm guessing he's going to come in this lap now. Oh,
absolutely.
Houston with a huge cut.
And Ludden is rolling. But he has dropped about 4 seconds, lost about 4 seconds on that pit rotation.
Yep, Houston into the pits now.
Yep. Trussler, Douglas, McIntyre, Wilkinson.
So Brad Merys, no doubt, as he comes around the back end of the circuit into the hairpin, will start making his way up towards the front of the circuit and go ahead and regain that lead.
Yeah, and he is way out in front now. Brad Merys just taking this drive home.
Yeah, Brad Merys running away with this one. He's just putting on a driving clinic, something that we can all learn from here tonight.
Well, now, John Houston, where is he going to end up here? It's going to be very interesting.
Well, John Ludden right now is coming across the front sector, so John Ludden will inherit P2 again. And Houston, let's see, Poole also coming in, so it looks like he may end up in 5th or 6th. And Chris Mose is not quite there yet.
Yeah, he's going to give that spot up. I think John's going to give up a spot or two there, and that's unfortunate. But Merys, the big winner on that pit rotation. His gap now to Ludden is now 19 seconds.
And Houston will get out. Let's see. Oh, they are right there. Wow. So Houston getting that 5th position back. Chris Moses up to 4th. Has Chris Moses pitted?
Absolutely.
The pit wizard has pitted, running in 4th.
And he has pulled it off too. He's out 3 seconds ahead of John Houston right now.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. It's a wonder you call him the pit wizard.
Now we do have a little farther back. Alex White has made his way up to P8 from 26th.
And so Alex White also on fairly fresh rubber. He's got Ryan Schleif in front of him, who Ryan Schleif can make that Corvette about as wide as a tugboat around these parts. He's going to have his work cut out for him, but the White Lightning now with a, no doubt these guys are going to run this second stint till the end. Not sure if that Lambo can make it all the way. Maybe, maybe not. He's going to need to get pulled around the track.
Well, Alex has got about a good half second a lap pace, on his race pace, over Ryan Schleif. So it's, 1 or 2 laps and he's going to be by Ryan. Unfortunately, Ryan's really going to have to dig deep and dig in.
Wow, Juan Monroy coming into the pits, puts it into the barrier and smashes up the front of his car. Don't know what happened there. That was just unusual.
Well, they're coming in real hot, and that's the second one I saw smash up on the pit lane entrance.
So Ian Jolicoeur running in P16 right now. Takes that spot away from Monroy, is now up in P15. Takes a little wide and finds the grass. Does a little bit of lawn maintenance there. Rich Roman in P17. And boy, I gotta give it to Connor Swain tonight. Connor Swain is driving the blue number 43 Ferrari F40. He is in P19, but man, he is giving it his best effort. He's putting forth his best effort at being competitive tonight. Gotta give him a lot of credit.
Juan Monroy has just hit the kill switch.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. With the hit that he took there, probably just way too much aero damage to fix in the pits. So Connor Swain in 18th now.
Hang in there, Connor. Couple of spots, you'll be in the points.
Yeah, he's got Sergio Calderon right in front of him, and Sergio giving, I believe, one of the Panos giving Sergio Calderon the lights, the business. Come on, Sergio, you gotta let him through. I understand that you don't want to give up too much ground to Connor Swain, but now we got a battle from P17.
Well, talking about this team effort here, I got to give it to PMR tonight. You know, Chris Moses, Al Merriam, and Chris running fourth. Al running sixth. We know Al's been strong this season so far. Chris, who started a little farther back, you know, has done a great job. He's got himself up into P4 right now, and got you know, fairly clean track. You know, not going to threaten David Pohl for third, but Al and Chris putting in a great team effort tonight.
Connor Swain letting Alex White by. He's going to get some pull off of Alex White. These cars putting them a lap down. Oh, nearly gets into the back of Alex White, but manages to save it. Gave Sergio Calderon a little bit of breathing room from Connor Swain's push forward. So,
you know, a little farther back here, we got quite the battle going on as they let the leader go through. But we got a battle going on between P11. We got Gup Douglas, Mike Trussler, and Bjorn Heyman, and Marty Uren. They are all in lockstep back here with Brad Merys trying to weave his way through this traffic.
Yeah, Brad Merys no doubt getting sandwiched here by some lap traffic, but Brad Merys is he's an excellent driver. He'll get through it, and these guys, I know they're battling for position right now. So it's going to be hard for them to relinquish the fast line to the leader. It may be that Brad might have to find a way around them, because these guys are, there's a four-way battle going on right now, and he just happens to be sandwiched in between them.
Yeah, you know what? This is a clinic. This is a clinic put on by Brad Merys. I mean, look at the guys he is lapping here. He has put down, you know, Rich Roman, Ian Joliker, Marty Uren, Bjorn Heyman. You know, he's working on lapping Trussler, Douglas, and Parsons. I mean, this is unreal stuff we got going here.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, Jack. He's threaded the needle several times here on track tonight in the midst of a 4 to 5 way battle for position. Incredible driving by Brad Merys.
Make that another added guy to the mix here. I just jumped back to Ian Joliker, who is now all over the back of Marty Uren. So there's another car added to this battle.
Yeah, I just caught that on the tail end of the battle, so let's jump up with your leader, Brad Merys.
Whoa, Marty puts it off, and Ian Joliker moves up into P14.
So Brad Merys still weaving his way through some lap traffic. Let's jump on board with him. Did he suffer some damage? Nope, no, not at all. Looked from one of the camera angles that he did. We'll make sure that he didn't.
No, and it's not costing him too bad. You know, he's still maintaining about a 16-second lead over John Ludden in second, and about another 16 seconds back to David Poole. So it looks like everything's working out just fine there. Yeah, and your race leader just goes by Gup Douglas.
Yep, I'm watching that. A little bit of a drag race down to the corner, but Gup concedes and will tuck in. Alex White up to P8, still hunting down Ryan Schleif. Don't think Alex at this point is pushing it way too hard, because you know, Alex had much quicker pace earlier on in the first stint, so he may just be laying back a little bit there.
Yeah, you never know with that guy. You know, he's a tricky kind of a driver, so you know, I got to hand it to him. He's creative too. I mean, he tries all sorts of different things, and that's really good. You know, I mean, that's you don't know unless you try, and boy, that guy tries hard.
That he does. Indeed, indeed. Rich Roman having all sorts of problems tonight, running P16, locking up the tires as he comes into the last turn. Connor Swain now up to P17 after Calderon's disconnect.
So 12, 13, 14.
Oh, wait a minute. No, Monroy's disconnect. Sorry, not Calderon's.
So we got a good gaggle of cars up here. Gup Douglas, Mike Trussler, Bjorn Heyman, Ian Joliker.
Interesting battle forming right now for P19 between Dan Wilkerson, Mike Graytrix, and that's it. Between Dan Wilkerson and Mike Graytrix. Looks like that is John Ludden that is coming up on them to put them down another lap.
I just caught up with another little battle that's going on. Is Big Al chasing down John Houston. Now we know John is running a great race and got sort of caught out on the pit rotations. But boy, Al sure wants to get up past John Houston, get in behind his teammate Chris Moses.
Mike Trussler, Gup Douglas, Bjorn Heyman, Ian Jolicoeur, and Marty Uren. 5-way battle. Oh, and Mike Trussler takes it off.
And Gup Douglas.
And Gup Douglas. Oh.
Yeah, and that's too bad. You know, Gup was running P11. Now he's gone down to P15. Gup was running P11 for the longest time, almost the whole race.
Pretty much, yeah. Andrew Werner in 9th. Aaron Parsons in 10th. Not too far back from Mr. Werner. Alex White up to P8. Now Alex White with a little bit of a slide there, but he is pulling up on Ryan Schleif's bumper. I think that Alex White might be thinking, this is the time for me to get ahead.
Ian Jolicoeur and Bjorn Heyman just swapping paint there, going down the start-finish straightaway.
Okay, so we're on board with P6 Al Merriman, who is all over the rear bumper of Mr. John Houston, currently running in P5. John already early on taking defensive lines around the track and nearly pulls the rear end of that car out from under him.
So there is still some good action going on here late in the race. We're running lap 40 right now.
Oh, John Houston with another slide.
John giving the lights to one of the... Oh, and John caught the back of the car there.
Yep, I just peeped that. I was on board with Moses' dash cam, and I saw that John Houston did get into the back of a lap car.
Paul Hall. That was Paul Hall. I think the CC committee is going to have a few incidents to take a look at.
Perhaps. Everything is relevant and depends on timestamp submissions. So if you feel you were wronged, folks, you gotta submit the timestamps.
Merriman and Houston still in lockstep. But you know, John's running is the same as when he was running in fourth there. Great defensive driving. He's, you know, taking away the driving line from the guys in behind him. Running real clean. He's not blocking. Doing a great drive tonight, and probably giving Al fits back there, trying to look for a way by.
Well, I gotta give a lot of credit to Al too. Al is a great driver. He's not overly aggressive, and he, you know, from what I've seen in my time here at NAGP, Al gives you a fair shake. Now, mistakes do happen, yes, absolutely, but Al's he's a fair driver.
Absolutely. You know, he prides himself on not running into people, and that's just the way he drives the car, and that's the kind of guys we want to race with. But boy, oh boy, John Houston is working for that P5 tonight.
Yeah, that he is. There's no doubt he's working for it. Probably sweating for it too. John Houston a little wide. Let's Al get up on him just a wee bit. But man, that Viper's got some serious legs.
Yeah, it sure does. I mean, he stretches it out. I mean, that Pano's just he cannot get close. Down the straightaway there.
Through that risky chicane, man, these guys are cutting it oh so close.
Yeah, and when I was out there, those curbings are a little slippery as well. Oh, and there he goes, Al down on the inside. A little bit of a tap, but good on both of them. Al really took that one in deep, and good on John Houston. Now John coming back at him. Oh, right up.
And Al's going to drift to the outside. Defensive driving.
Boy, some great racing there by a couple of our old veterans.
Old and veterans. That, you didn't hear that from me.
Well, they're not as old as I am, but they've been at the game a while.
That indeed. So, John Houston, I don't know. He takes it a little wide, perhaps trying to give it too much to the old Viper, but looks like Al Merriman is starting to check out on him just a little bit there. And boy, oh boy, guess what? Schleif and Alex White now right behind Houston.
Yeah, you've got that right. I was so focused on John, I forgot to check my rearview mirror to see what was coming up behind him. So, and actually, Alex White, and Schleif, might even be able to give Al a challenge before the end of the race.
Yeah, quite possibly. So we are currently working lap 42. Still quite a bit of racing. We've got about 18 laps left to go. That's a lot of racing around these parts.
So 9 and 10, you got Werner and Parsons is giving Werner the business back here, all over the back of him. So Aaron is shaking off the early demons and got it back together. Still going to be, a little off the podium, but enough to shake some of that ballast.
Absolutely, yeah. And, I mean, he is just carrying baggage tonight. And you know what? The amount of ballast that he's carrying certainly can affect your drive around here. Technical tracks do not favor ballast. Not heavy amounts anyway.
Well, I'm just running through the pack there a little bit farther back, and Connor Swain's up to P17, so good on you, Connor.
Rich Roman having a bit of a rough go at it tonight. He's back in P16, the last points paying position. Sliding that Aston Martin all over the place. Mike Greatrix running kind of solo back there in P19 right now as he comes across the start-finish line. Dan Wilkerson, Paul Hall. That's your running cars right now. So again, your leader, Brad Merys, way out front.
Yeah, you know what? I just been riding around with Brad for about a half a lap here. Boy, what a show he's putting on tonight.
I'm telling you, he is driving some pretty lines around this track.
Lap 44.
Brad Merys, your leader. John Ludden in P2. David Poole in 3. So these top 3 are very well spaced out. Chris Mose is now up in 4th. Merriman in 5th. John Houston is back in P6. So, wow. Ryan Schleif in 7th, and Alex White must have had an off that we did not catch because there is a substantial gap between White and Schleif. Looks, wow. Yeah, certainly about 11 seconds. So Alex White must have had an off.
Yeah, you're right there.
But Werner and Parsons still going at it in the middle of the pack. Ian Jolicoeur in 11. Marty Uren running in 12th right now. Not really a threat to Ian Jolicoeur. Bjorn Heyman spins it, and we catch it. Oh, stay off the wall, Bjorn.
Wow. Yeah, that's a touchy position.
Yep, that allows Mike Trussler and Gup Douglas to get by. Bjorn Heyman now back underway. Rich Roman in P16. Just now passing where Bjorn Heyman lost it. So, and one of the Panos GT1 cars about to put Rich Roman a lap down. On board with P19 Mike Greatrix.
Yep, Parson is working over Andrew Werner really, really hard right now. I'd say look for a pass any second.
On the dash cam with Aaron Parsons.
Yep, he is giving Andrew a rear view mirror full. Whoa, and a big lurch and away he goes.
Yep, a slide by Andrew Werner and a thank you very much by Mr. Aaron Parsons, who will now steal away P9.
Yeah, after sliding all the way back to P24 at the start in the first lap.
Boy, oh boy, Alex White must have rolled his car because there's all sorts of damage and a new design on the roof of the Lamborghini.
Yeah, it is smashed to pieces.
It is smashed to bits, man. Are you kidding me?
The whole right side of the car is destroyed. Yeah, he's got a lap in there of a 141 time. Although he has brought that car back, even as beat up as it is, to do 129s.
Yep. So on board with P5, Al Merriman and Chris Moses, PMR Racing, making steady progress throughout this race, and that's what it's all about, folks. You know, you don't always have to be the victor of the event to be the victor of the war. So, you know, these guys fight battles week after week, but you know, those that win that team championship, those are the ones that have prevailed in the war.
Yeah, you know, that's really going to help PMR a lot. Unfortunately, you know, Rolf Sport, who is tied with PMR with 59 points, is going to pick up some points with Brad Merys driving that car.
Yep, certainly indeed. John Ludden still running comfortably in P2 right now.
Yeah, he's got a comfortable lead over David Poole.
Yep, and Brad Merys with a comfortable lead over John Ludden. Man, I tell you that Brad Merys has just run away with this one.
Now, Parsons is closing up on Alex White, and with Alex's car as beat up as it is, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Parsons get by Alex.
Yeah, I don't think that I would be very surprised either. The aero damage on Alex White's car is substantial enough that he's just not getting optimal performance right now.
Yeah, Alex has dropped about a second of a lap since he's taken on that damage, and Aaron Parsons is maintaining it at 28s. So now Ryan Schleif is starting to go to work on John Houston as well.
Yep, I see that.
Going up for a pass. Oh,
and a little bit of a little bit of a love tap.
Good on both of them, though. Andrew Werner out.
Tough break for Werner. Oh, John Houston taking a little bit wide.
You know, Ryan just not in close enough to take advantage, though.
No, he was last lap. He certainly was last lap, but I think that little tap to John Houston may have given him some second thoughts about things.
Yeah, you know, no sense going in and trying to wreck both their races right now.
No, not at all.
But still a good battle. And that looks like it is the spot to be in for the action right now.
Yep, we are on board with that battle right now for P6.
Yep, that is the battle on the track. It looks like Alex White has found a little bit of speed and maintaining a bit of a gap on Aaron Parsons. So you're on the Schleif-Houston battle is the one on the track. A little farther back up, Douglas has made it back up to P13 now, and then is trying to make up a little bit of time to Mike Trussler.
Here's something you do not see very often. Actually, it's quite rare, like one of those Cosmo events, but Brad Merys is coming up on the back of Alex White and is going to put him a lap down.
Well, when I take a look at the drivers that are still on the lead lap, it's just stunning. I mean, we've got top-notch racers going down a lap. Brad Merys putting on a clinic for everybody. The car is clean. He is just running so consistently. Boy, what
so
a driver.
Clean, all he's going to have to do is worry about wiping the bugs off the grill.
Well, I'm sure being in the winner's circle there, somebody will wipe him off for him. And he is running so consistently, even through this lap traffic. You know, he's only got maybe 4 or 5 laps in the 29s. Everything is in the 28s. The last lap was a 28, almost flat. Just running a clean, smooth race here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he's demonstrated the prowess of the Merys prowess here tonight at the Zolder circuit. Great run by Brad.
And, you know, a great run by Ludden as well. You know, to only be 20 seconds off of Brad, and that's a stunning run for Brad, and Alex lets him slide right by. very cleanly, but a great run by Ludden as well. And David Poole. Oh, Brad Merys puts it off the track.
Oh, I see that. Was that something he did on his own?
Yeah, Alex White let him by very cleanly, but I think, he was sort of off going into that first corner shallow, and might have just put his rhythm off. I mean, he's been so consistent. Andrew Werner has just gone out with a DNF as well.
After such a hard-fought battle, tough break for Werner.
But, we're running lap 52, and, Brad is out by 18 seconds out in front of John Ludden, so even that little off, that little mistake by him is first mistake we've seen from Brad all night. But like I say, I think it was just he was off his line, and maybe was caught off guard there.
So now, Parsons and White. That's the battle to be following.
Yeah, Ludden might be seeing that and seeing that gap is closed by about 5 seconds in that last lap, but he's going to need a couple more of those to help him out tonight.
Parsons right up on the tail of Alex White. Is Alex going to give him enough to get by? Not just yet. Alex White with a slide is going to let Aaron Parsons get on through, and Brad Merys, your leader, behind this ongoing battle right now.
Yeah, I was just up a little further up in the field, and Ryan Schleif is really pushing it. Probably, maybe I'd say a little too hard. And the gap is opened up. He's let John get about 5 seconds in front of him. He's had a couple of offs. He's got to settle down. Just keep your nose down, Ryan.
That's it, yeah.
I'm just having a little chuckle here, folks. Taking a look at that Alex White's car. What a wreck.
Oh, boy. I tell you, Alex White will be fairly amused at your commentary about his car. But I got to tell you, Alex White is no slouch in the commentary either. He holds no punches, and he calls the shots the way they are, man. I remember during Super Bowl qualifying and Paul Ricard, one comment that just kind of threw everybody for a loop was when one of the fast guys was driving, had a moment, and he comes out and he says, there was an apex over there somewhere.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's very good at what he does, and very observant at watching people drive.
Yep, absolutely.
So I'm just watching some of the guys a little farther back. Gup has made it back up into 13th.
Yep, Jolicoeur's in 10. You ran in 11th. Trussler in 12th, and like you said, Douglas is now in 13th. Roman still battling the struggles of the night. He's back in P14. Bjorn Heyman in 15th, and Connor Swain now gains one more position up to P16.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think that'll be Connor's first point.
Yep, granted that he can keep that going. Sergio Calderon doesn't look like Sergio's anywhere near him.
No, Connor's just got to keep it clean. I think if he keeps it clean, he should be okay.
That is pretty much it. So, Connor's had a great run tonight. I believe this is his first GT1 race, and already scoring points.
Yeah, I could only wish.
Oh, that makes two of us, Jack. So Paul Hall, who rounds out the last of your running cars, quickly being caught up to by Brad Merys. And Brad Merys gets by Alex White. And it looks like, yep, White will sail on by as well.
So, quite the gaps out in front. We've got Brad Merys. Slipped a little bit. He's down to about 15 seconds over top of Ludden. And Ludden's about 20 seconds over Pole, and Pole's about 20 seconds over Moses, and Moses is about 10 seconds over teammate Al Merriman. So, as we mentioned a few times, PMR, in 4 and 5 are going to pick up a good load of points in tonight's outing.
Yes, that they are indeed. So we're out on board with Brad Merys right now. Still running P1, comfortably in the lead.
Yep, and Brad's only got about 3.5 laps to put in, and that'll be all she wrote.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, man. Running lap 55, about 5 laps left to go. Yeah, Brad Merys showing the way here tonight. John Ludden, P2. David Poole in P3. Chris Moses comfortably in P4. And Al Merriman in P5. John Houston running 6th. Did not give up that position to P7 Ryan Schleif. Aaron Parsons in 8. Alex White in 9th. Ian Jolicoeur in 10. Marty Uren running 11th. Mike Trussler running in 12th. Gub Douglas in 13th. Rich Roman 14th. Bjorn Heyman in 15. Connor Swain in 16. Again, a great run for Connor. Sergio Calderon in 17th. Mike Graytrix in 18th. And Paul Hall in 19th. That is your running order. That's everybody that is still left running right now. So no...
Well,
go ahead.
Right now, I can see there is one development going to happen here before the end of the race, and Ryan Schleif has struggled the last 4 or 5 laps. His times are way off. Probably, cooked his tires up. He's sliding around, and now Aaron Parsons is coming up and going to make a move on him. I thought it would take a couple laps, but it's going to happen very shortly.
Wow, yeah, so he's gone from steady 129s, he slipped to the 130s and then the 33s and the 31s. So he is definitely giving up some ground to Mr. Parsons right now.
And Parsons all over the back room right now coming into the chicane.
So with about 4 laps to go, does Parsons have enough left in that Lister
Absolutely.
Storm to put Schleif down 1 position?
Judging by the lap times, I'd say it's going to happen, and it sure looks like Ryan has just cooked the tires off that car.
Yeah.
And, these guys are lucky because the track temps have dropped. They're down to 69 degrees. So, they've got great conditions out there for, saving their tires. But I got to think that Ryan he's struggling with that Corvette right now.
Yeah, it would appear his lap times would indicate so. Oh, a bit of a slide.
Here we go.
Bit of a slide, but Aaron Parsons, the gentleman, backs off just a little bit. Doesn't want to get into the back of Schleif. Great battle forming,
and that
folks.
Corvette's got some good straight line speed.
And I think that's where the Lister Storm may be at a slight disadvantage. It's a 5-speed car. It's going to have 5 speeds on that tranny, so it cannot get the close gear ratio of a 6-speed, such as the Corvette.
Well, Aaron's got to do it now because we have just gone through lap 59. Brad Merys, this should be it. Last lap.
Aaron Parsons, here he comes on the inside, looking to take that line away from Schleif. Does not have enough, takes it into the sand trap slightly. And I believe that is the way they may finish this race out. And we can actually jump on board with your leader, Brad Merys, and see that battle up ahead between Parsons and Schleif. Oh, and Parsons, looking on the inside of Schleif, doesn't quite have enough to get it done. So Schleif in the fight of his life right now.
Good battle for P7.
And I'll tell you what, if this is it for Merys, not sure, I don't see a flashing light yet. If this is it for Merys, that is it, but they still have a battle going on. So Parsons and Schleif still have a battle because they got across that start-finish line before Merys did to finish out this race, so they are battling one more lap. So we are going to stay with this, folks, to see if there's any last lap developments here, as Parsons giving it everything he can, looking inside, looking outside, trying the old over-under. He pulls along the side of Schleif right now as they drag race. Yeah, it's a drag race down through the butt curve, and yep, Parsons will put the moves on Schleif.
Great last lap action.
Yep, and that kind of just sucked the wind out of Schleif's wings. Schleif, having fought valiantly to fend off a hard-charging Aaron Parsons, but in the end, Parsons had just a little bit more. Will come across the line in P7. And there is the checkered flag. Schleif will come through in 8th. Alex White in 9th. Joe LaCour still running in 10th. Marty, you running 11th. Mike Trussler, Gup Douglas, Rich Roman, Bjorn Heyman. Connor Swain with a point tonight. And Sergio, I think, just blew his engine.
Well, we've got Brad Merys standing by. You just let me know when to bring him in, Kenny.
Yep, go ahead.
Brad, Jack and Ken in the booth. What a race.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. Thanks, Jack. It got a little tough there toward the end with the temperatures really dropping, but I think a lot of people were in the same boat. I certainly was.
That was a clinic, Brad. I was watching your lap times. I just cannot believe
John Luden. I think David. Yeah, I think David Poole also took 3rd. So congrats to those guys.
Yeah, they put in great races. Their lap times were good, but Brad, I am just amazed at the consistency. I know you talk about it all the time of your lap times. It's just unbelievable.
Well, yeah, I tell you, Jack, I'm glad I didn't have to push for too much more. There was a bit more in it, but it was really kind of going to be based on what Luden was able to do. So I was able to get out front and kind of just manage the time. And that's why they weren't all over the map, is because I didn't have to over push the car. So yeah, it was a good race all the way through. Tough race. This track comes at you fast, but it was sure a good time.
Yeah, I saw you made one mistake in that whole race, Brad, near the end there. You took it off into the grass. That was the only time I saw you really make a mistake.
That was the only mistake I made. I just had a weird entry there when Alex White was trying to let me by, and I just kind of lost where I was at for a second, Jack. But fortunately, it didn't cost me. So, but again, congrats to John Luden and David Poole. Great race for those guys too.
Well, congrats to you, Brad. I mean, unbelievable show tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. So happy to be a part, and thanks again for all your hard work on the broadcast.
Yep, congrats, Brad. Just to let you know, you were my pick for the win tonight, so I get them $50 after all.
That's great. Hey, glad to hear it, kid.
Yep, congrats on that win and to the podium. Spectacular race.
Yeah, thanks, buddy, and thank you also for helping out with the broadcast.
Absolutely.
Your race winner, Brad Merys. All right, Kenny.
So that is going to be it for us tonight here at Zolder. We are going to pack it in, and as such, we will say goodnight. We will see you next week. We'll do it all over again. But for Jack Ivy, and myself, I am Ken Rodriguez, and we will see you next week.